This story starts with a George Floyd threat made at me and ends up with the police at my door. One of the Madison College liberal progressive fucking freak shows made a George Floyd threat at me. And this is the story about how the Madison College tried to get the police to murder me. Now I know it sounds far-fetched, but everything I've been telling you probably sounds far-fetched. Especially if all of these situations stood alone, they probably all sound far-fetched. This works, so this is Madison College. I'm going full-time this next semester coming up. I'm trying to finish something I started at a different school, at a different college. All my classes are online. I don't want to set foot in there. I have 3 of them set up. I need 1 more. The computer system's not working, their computer system. So I'm trying to set up an appointment with a counselor just to get that last class for me. They have an area called the Student Success Center where they would set up the appointment for me. So I would call and say I need to set up an appointment with a counselor, and they set up the appointment. So I called this day, and it's a white guy who picks up the phone. So I don't know about him. He sounds white. He gets on the phone, and I'm trying to, figure out how to get that last class. The system's not working. I'm trying to get the appointment made. But he's giving advice, unsolicited advice about how to, he's asking me what I was doing. And I'm telling him, and he's like, that's not how you do it. And I'm like, okay, well, how do you do it? Because I just wanted to get it done. My goal was to get the appointment done. And his response would always be, well, I don't know. I'm just a student. So that went on for a minute, and I'm just like, okay, can you make the appointment with the counselor now? Like, if you keep telling me you don't know how to do everything, I need to talk to somebody that knows. He hung up. He didn't like that. He hung up. When I called back, the same guy, he answered, and he said the phone call dropped. I'm like, whatever. And then it was just the same routine. So at that point, I'm like, listen, apparently it's above your pay grade. Can you just set the appointment for the counselor so I could get off the phone, man? He hung up again. So I called back a 3rd time, right? I called back a 3rd time. And now I'm just like, man, now we're going back and forth. I'm like, get somebody else, get a supervisor, something to that effect. Like, like find something to do, you know what I'm saying? Get a hobby or something. Like, get somebody else. I just want to get my appointment made. Well, we're going back and forth. I say this thing I usually always say to them. I say, this is why blacks should vote for Trump. I said, if this area hates Trump so much, then I love him. I want him to win. This chump's response was, when you talk like that, you're going to end up saying you can't breathe like George. Now, that shit ain't hurt my feelings enough. I don't get off of they're all racist. That shit don't bother me. He hung up the phone. My issue was I still needed my appointment made. So I called back because I still need my appointment made. Now, it wouldn't make much of a difference if I was to be like, man, he said this or nothing. Because if I go back and forth with him, he was already acting like he was going to play victim. I already know it's not much to be gained from that. I really wanted my appointment because I wanted to finish my degree. So I wanted to get these credits and combine them with credits from a different school. So I'm calling back. He's not answering. So I call a different department. And I try to see if she can set up my appointment. I tell her the guy in the other area, he's just being difficult. It's not answering, not working. It's being difficult. She's like, she can't set it up. This is somebody in a different department. She gets her supervisor. So her supervisor's like, she'll try to set it up, and then she said she's going to send a message to the supervisor in that other department. I'm like, cool, fine. So the woman at this department, she sets up the appointment. She said she believes it's set up. She said, but this is not what she does normally. So she sets it up for a certain time on the 20th of August, this past 20th. So this day was maybe August 11th. So she sets up the appointment, and then she's asking me, she's like, what's going on with the guy? And I'm just saying he's being unruly difficult. I'm trying to get the appointment done. He's acting like, he's acting like a scrub at his job, basically. I'm not trying to take it there as long as my appointment's made. So I explained to her, I'm like, if you are concerned, you can get the call, because they said her calls are recorded. I'm like, you can get the call. That way it's up to them. If they get the call and they don't like him saying that and they're really concerned, they can contact me. But if they get the call and they don't care that he said that, there's no reason for them to mess with me because I'm not pushing on it. Like you got to pick and choose your battles here. You know what I mean? I've been learned that. I didn't try to help a bunch of women who were getting trafficked and they were pushing back on me pretty tough. So I'm like, Yeah, I'm done with it as long as the appointment is made. So that's why I moved forward. The appointment was supposed to be made at the time. So yeah, so I don't make a big deal about what he said as long as the appointment's done. I'm just like, you guys can check the phone calls and call me back if you want. So later that day, I do get a call back. I get a call back from a woman named Jennifer Adams. I get a call back and I miss it. I see it's MTC, so I don't answer. I was doing something. So I call the number back, and that's the voicemail. It says this is Jennifer Adams. Now I'm assuming that's a supervisor, so I'm like, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm cool as long as my appointment's made. I don't care. If she calls me again, I'll talk to her about it. But I didn't leave a message because I just didn't. I felt like there was no reason in going into all of that. So I just was like, I have an appointment made on the 20th. I'm good. So the 20th rolls around, and I don't get the call. It's supposed to be a phone call. I don't get the call. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm busy anyway. I didn't get the call. Like, she's supposed to call me. That's how it works. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go in there. I'll go in there the next day. So that's what I do. I go in there the next day. So I go in there the 21st.
It takes me to tango. You don't wanna mess with me. Baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster too.